Today's topic is going to be finding financial support and resources for your myeloma treatment. Myeloma treatment is expensive, and often patients and their families are having to pay high out-of-pocket costs for these medications. However, there are many pharmaceutical programs that provide support for the myeloma community that can lower costs and also provide other beneficial support to patients and their families. So we're going to learn from Diahanna Vallentine today about what those programs are and how you can take advantage of them. So Diahanna, with that being said, I'm going to turn the time over to you for the presentation.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us. This topic is so personal to me, and I'll share an incident. My husband had great insurance through his employer. He's a manager with UPS. And there was another prescription that was prescribed to him, and I went to the pharmacy to pick that prescription up. And they said, well, there's something wrong with your insurance. You can't get this, you can't get it. You have to pay for it. And my husband was really, really ill at the time. And I stood there, I said, but he needs this medication. Insurance hasn't changed in 30 years. And she said, I'm sorry, you had to contact your insurance company, which I did eventually do. But I remember standing there just crying, just at the counter crying, thinking, and I remember saying, my husband is dying. I need this medication. And the cost of medication was going to be over $10,000. And I just panicked. So we did eventually get that medicine the very next day, but I just realized is how difficult it could be for people who didn't have a chance to have that turnaround. So this is very important for, I think, even if you don't think you need to go into to review one of these patient assistance programs through the pharmacy, don't pursue that. Please look into it, because that means there's more money in your pocket to do the things that you need to do. And they're really they're underused and they're misunderstood. So at least weekly, I get patients that call me all the time, desperate for medication, to get their medication, desperate for help. And so this is why this is put together for you. So surprisingly, a good number of those who are over the past year told me they were going to leave those funds to people who needed it more than how do they know that, right? And sometimes it takes a lot of convincing, too much convincing, to get them to realize that pharmaceutical companies are in no danger of going bankrupt. They are fine. In fact, they make more money when they have patient assistance programs. I know that's hard to believe, but if you really looked at the patient assistance programs, how they worked, it's amazing how they actually make money off of this. Next slide. So what are patient assistance programs through pharmaceutical companies? They're programs that help patients offset the cost of their prescriptions if they're uninsured or underinsured. They differ in qualifications. The assistance is renewable yearly. So if it's not January to December, it's like if you start in March, it goes to up to March the following year. You can renew those every year. You can only apply for assistance for the drug that is manufactured by that pharmaceutical company. You can go online through the pharmaceutical company's website, or you can call them up and they can help you with that over the phone. So qualifying criteria, again, is going to vary based on what pharmaceutical company you go through. The time limits for times to get these done they're really fairly quick turnarounds on this. So please take advantage of all these. And I would encourage everyone to take out a pen and pencil, because you may have something going on right now, and we're going to go through some of these specific steps or specific pharmaceutical companies and the drugs that might benefit you. Next slide. So here's a shocking statistic, and I was going to put the number down here, but when you see every 15 minutes, and you think how many 15 minutes there are in a day, how many they are in a week, how many they are in a year, I thought I wouldn't put the number down there. I really think that the shock would, as you sit down and did it yourself, multiply this out, how big a number that is. Every 15 minutes, someone in the United States is diagnosed with multiple myeloma. That is a huge number of people needing a lot of resources, as you all know, for a very costly cancer. Surprisingly, many of those people are not aware of the financial help that they can get paying for the medicines, as I didn't know until after my husband had passed. Educating yourself about the financial opportunities available can provide you with more control over your illness and provide more options for care, in addition to provide you more options to do other things in your life. Today, we're going to dive into the pharmaceutical patient assistance programs, as well as additional care assistance programs that many of the pharmaceutical companies offer as well. That's going to assist you along in your journey of care. Next slide. So the first one we're going to talk about is Bristol Myers Squibb. Now, it is a big player in this whole thing because they have some of these big medicines that are very costly that almost everyone on myeloma ends up on at some point. The Revlimid, Blenrep, Pomalyst, Vallentine, Implicity, CAR-T, Abecma. So Bristol Myers Squibb offers patient assist support in their copay assistance for commercially insured patients. Federally or uninsured patients are not included for this assistance. However, I don't want you to feel like you're excluded. You don't get help. They do have patient assistance available to you through a slightly different program. So we're going to cover that in a little bit. Next slide. See, the CAR-T Abecma Cell Therapy 360. This assistance is provided on a case-by-case basis. Income criteria applies. Copay assistance, reimbursement support, patient support, and patient assistance programs are available for eligible patients. Now, if anyone's not aware, CAR-T is a one injection therapy, but it is very expensive. It's hundreds of thousands of dollars in cost. So I would encourage you, if that's something that's on the radar for you, find out what your insurance covers. And if it doesn't cover this, then reach out to Bristol Myers Squibb. Big news is another thing is patients must have no prescription coverage and have income at or below 300% of federal poverty level. And that's based on the number of people in your household. Medicare Part D enrollees may apply for assistance through a case-by-case appeals process who demonstrate a significant financial and medical need. And when you do, anytime you do any kind of appeal, make sure that it means this is the next best therapy that the doctor is recommending for you. That's very important. Bristol Myers Squibb has a patient assistance program that offers additional outside assistance for uninsured patients or those experiencing financial hardship. So Bristol Myers Squibb has a lot of resources available to you. So one of the things I want to get back around to you for patients who are on Medicare or federally funded programs, remember I mentioned they weren't eligible for the other things. However, if they go through an addition foundation through Bristol Myers Squibb, you could possibly be eligible. You have to supply a 1099 form, Social Security statements, pension statements, and 2 consecutive pay stubs. So in your application, you'll need to submit documentation showing you have spent 3% of your annual household income on out-of-pocket prescription expenses for you and or members of your household for the last year in which you are seeking assistance. So if you're doing something for 2022, you need to show that you have paid $3,000 worth of out-of-pockets for you and anybody else in your household. You can find that information from your pharmacy because they can print out everything that you've paid out of pocket from your pharmacy. So this is in addition to all the other eligibility criteria, including financial eligibility. Remember the federal poverty levels, that is part of it. You may not be able to process your application until they receive that documentation. So the sooner you have all that stuff together, the best in best position you're going to be. Next slide. So Janssen Biotech Patient Assistance Foundation, they have a great program that we're going to go through. Janssen's CarePath Savings Program is for private insurance members. Now, that program will allow you to participate in getting financial assistance, copay assistance for your medications that are prescribed through Janssen. Again, eligibility criteria is based on your income, federal poverty levels, how many people are in your household, as well as the type of insurance you have and what is not being covered. Okay, so the Janssen Compass program, this is an unbelievable program. This program, actually, you can receive free personalized resources to help you get started on treatment. Not just get started, but help you through your continuum of care. So you have a dedicated care navigator that can help assist your patients finding additional financial assistance programs outside of Janssen, as well as provide educational treatment support based on your needs. This can include tips for taking care of yourself during treatment and help with setting goals while living with cancer. This is all provided free of charge when you're prescribed a Janssen Oncology therapy. And there's a telephone number to reach them. This is an unbelievable program. They also have access to other things, tips for like exercise, nutrition. They have so many things available. So I actually, if you don't even take Janssen, if you can just look at some of the programs they have available, it's unbelievable just to look at what they have. Their Care Path program provides access, affordability, and treatment support services to help patients get on and stay on the Janssen medications that they are prescribed. This is especially important to commercially insured patients to help with out-of-pocket medication costs. There's a link for you to go to that. Please do that. People with government Medicare or Medicaid may get assistance for programs to help lower medications, so we covered that earlier. There's a telephone number to reach out for some of those programs. Next slide. Johnson & Johnson, sometimes you see them partner with Janssen, like the Doxil. Doxil is one of those supportive medications you may have if you have myeloma. And so Medicare Part D patients who cannot afford the medication and meet certain financial criteria may also be eligible for assistance through that Janssen Care Path program or jjpaf.org. Johnson & Johnson Patient Assistance Foundation is for uninsured and underinsured based on income levels. Again, federal poverty levels come into play and the number of people in your household. Johnson & Johnson also has a hospital assistance program that helps eligible hospitals receive free medications to give to eligible outpatients directly. So if you go in and you're getting treatment, you may, and you know which hospital you're going to get treatment at, you may call them up and see if they have that program available. Very important. It helps you put you at ease so you can go on and work on your treatment and get better faster. Next slide. Karyopharm Pharmaceuticals. So Karyopharm provides Exfolio, offers a copay card that you would get to help offset your copays for that. And then you have to have you're a private insurance member, which means you're getting your insurance through your employer. They also offer patient-assisted programs for uninsured and underinsured patients. Karyopharm also offers a quick start program for patients who access Xpovio who experience a delay insurance coverage. So you find out on Monday you're getting this treatment, and then you realize I don't know if my insurance pays for it. It's late. I can't even call my insurance company. You can call them and they can set you up immediately to get that to start on your treatment, so you won't have a delay in that. And it's really, really, really important. There's a link to get on there to find out more about them. There's also a telephone number that you can get through the link to call. Next slide. The Karyopharm Therapeutics offers patients assistance navigating the insurance process, which is very, very difficult sometimes. Your benefits investigation to find out exactly what will be covered through your insurance company, and claims assistance, including prior authorization appeals. This is very important. If you need to get prior authorizations, they can help speeding that process up versus waiting for your doctor to do it. If you go directly to the source, the better off you're going to be. They have a dedicated nurse navigator for every person that can provide additional information about the Xpovio treatment, such as prescription resources, psychosocial support, which is very important, and additional non-clinical education, expectations of effects of the medication, as well as determination if third-party support, such as transportation, lodging, and all these things is needed. So they have a very comprehensive program for people who are on their medications to help you navigate through this whole process. Next slide. Novartis, Zometa is, it's an injection reclass patient assistance program, provides assistance to patients experiencing financial hardship who have no third-party insurance or medication coverage for their medicines. Patients must meet income eligibility just like the other pharmaceutical companies, and that would include federal poverty levels. They may differ on pharmaceutical companies. They be 100%, 2, 3, 4, up to 500% of federal poverty levels based on the household size and the product that they're offering. Your applications can be evaluated on a case-by-case basis. So if you anticipate this is going to be a medication you're going to be on, your doctor's already said, I think we're going to start this therapy next. Go on and start working on finding out if it's going to be covered through your insurance. If not, how much is going to be covered, and then reach out to Novartis to see what kind of assistance you can get based on your income criteria. Next slide. Takeda Oncology. Velcade and Laro are two of the big medicines that are prescribed for multiple myeloma. So they offer a patient support service through the Here to Assist, their Velcade reimbursement assistance program that helps with copay assistance. Patients must be insured. There's a link to get on that. The Here to Assist programs is committed to offering patients comprehensive support, such as identifying additional support for their medications, may help eligible patients get started on treatment in the event of insurance delay. Again, if you're prescribed this, you want to make sure you get on it as soon as possible. It also identifies specialty pharmacies to help fill and ship prescriptions appropriately. Sometimes you may find that if you have prescriptions sent to you or mailed to you, depending on your insurance program, the cost may be less as well. And you have to go to the pharmacy, expose yourself, or God knows what's out there, what's coming next, or what's still out there. So it's something to keep in mind. And most of these pharmaceutical companies, like I said, offer so much additional assistance to help you through your medications, your insurance understanding, benefits that you need to take advantage of. Next slide. So they conduct regular follow-up on calls to patients to see how you're doing. If you have any side effects, they can give you some information about that. They'll also send you text messages, this update and as your status updates and reminders to you so that you can keep up with what's going on with Takeda, what's going on with the medication. If you're having side effects, if there's been changes in the medications and how people respond to it, they will keep you up to date on that, which is a very, very helpful tool to have. Next slide. GlaxoSmithKline Blenrep is one you may be very familiar with. This is a program that GSK commits to assisting eligible patients assessing their medications. Their copay assistance programs is for commercially insured or uninsured patients. Federally insured patients that are on Medicare, veterans programs, are not eligible for this program. The GSK Assistance Program for Prescription Medicines assists patients who are uninsured in Medicare and meet income eligibility criteria. I'm having a very difficult time today. So Melphalan is one of those medications. There's currently no patient assistance programs through the pharmacy, but if you go to GSK Oncology, they may have some programs available to you. Next slide. They have it's called the STAR Copay Assistance Program, $0 out of pocket for private insurance patients for first injection. Then it's $24 per injection, up to $10,000 per year. Really great help. The STAR Patient Assistance Program for Melphalan is free of charge to patients who meet income criteria. Again, you got to go back to that federal poverty income level, as well as including the number of people in your household. The more people you have in your household, the higher up that criteria, that number income goes, which means it may be, let's say hypothetically, $24,000 income for one person. But if you have 3-4 people in your household, that income level goes up, which means if you have already consider a fairly high income, you may still qualify. And that is in respect to all of these pharmaceutical programs. So I really encourage you guys to look at that and also pull out your 1099s. If there is a big change in your income in this year and you're applying for something this year, if you can provide proof to them, that actually helps you to get qualified versus having them look at your 1099 or your tax statements from the previous year. If you quit your job, things like that can make a big difference in your getting accepted in some of these programs. Next slide. Sanofi Genzyme. Scarlissa Mosaville. These are some medications that you can get copay assistance through their program. This is a copay assistance program is used for reimbursement. So you pay for it first, and you can get reimbursed for that out-of-pocket cost. You must have commercial insurance, including state and federal employee plans and health insurance exchanges. Care Assist Patients Assistance Programs is for patients who meet program eligibility criteria. We've gone through that again. The Care Assist program also provides assistance assessing medication and finding other resources. There's a link for that. And when they say finding other resources, that would include your nonprofits or your things like Leukemia Lymphoma Society, American Cancer Society, all of those other programs. And they can also help find resources maybe local to you. So there's a great benefit to going and finding the things that may be possible to you, not just for medication, but for travel and housing and all these things as well. Very beneficial to every cancer patient. I really encourage everyone to get involved in this. Next slide. So Genentech AbbVie. Genentech AbbVie, you're familiar with venetoclax. Their copay programs provide direct assistance to partners to help with their copays, co-insurance, and other out-of-pocket costs. Venetoclax access solutions can be referred to the Genentech Oncology Copay Assistance Program. It's not valid for people who have federal or state government programs. That would be your Medicare, Medicaid, things like that. The Genentech Patient Foundation provides free Genentech medications to people who don't have insurance coverage or who have financial concerns and meet eligibility criteria. There's a link for that. The AbbVie Assist provides free AbbVie medications to qualifying patients, and patients with Medicare Part B without supplemental insurance may qualify. So you'll see that a lot of these pharmaceutical companies, they may say you don't qualify for one program. They may have other programs available for you. It doesn't hurt, even if it says we don't have that, it doesn't hurt to call them and ask, because they may have another program to help you find other revenues or avenues into getting your medicines paid for. Amgen, Kyprolis. They're Amgen's first step programs for eligible insured private insurers, people help pay out-of-pocket prescription costs. No income requirements here. That is one of the only pharmaceutical companies I've seen that have no income requirements. Amgen has a safety net program, which offers assistance to patients with income situations and household criteria. You must be uninsured or your insurance plan excludes Amgen medications. That's very key, excludes Amgen medications, or it's generic or biosimilars. Certain Medicare Part D beneficiaries who cannot afford Kyprolis may be eligible and must meet certain criteria. And there is a link for that. I know there's a lot of links, but we're going to have a lot of these links are already on our financial page under the financial resources of the coach program. So I encourage you all to go through those things. Next slide. So there's additional help for prescription costs. The Partnership for Prescription Assistance is a great resource. It helps qualifying patients without prescription drug coverage get medications they need for free or nearly free. This program offers a single point of access to more than 475 public and private programs, including nearly 200 offered by pharmaceutical companies. So this is really a one-stop place for you to start if you're not sure where to go, or even if you have some of those biosimilars or other drugs that still may be too high, or you may have other medicines that work. There's not actually oncologic medications, but maybe supportive medications. You may go through here, this site, and find other resources to help pay for those additional medications. You know, there's a lot of people that are on acyclovir. It's an antifungal medication. You know, these kind of things add up. Your dexamethasone, all these other things, they add up. So they may provide other assistance for you to help get those things paid for as well. Next slide.
That's actually,
wow, that was a mouthful.
I know, you did awesome. That was so much information. And again, as you were saying, there's so many links, but they are available on our website. And then they're also going to be sent out in these slides that we're giving to all registrants. And so lots of opportunity for review of these programs as well. So thank you, Diana, for that preparation. You did a great job of answering the questions that they had. I wasn't sure if you had the questions up, because I feel like somebody would ask a question and you'd answer it without knowing that you were answering it. So it was pretty awesome. one of the biggest questions is, why aren't any of these programs including Medicare patients? And I feel like you answered it well when you said, it is frustrating to not be included, but there's also probably other programs that they do qualify for that either just aren't as well advertised or for one reason or another, they're not able to. Yeah, anyway, just I feel like you explained it well already.
Yeah, a lot of people don't realize Medicare, if you have, and this is key, and Medicare enrollment for Advantage is coming up. Medicare is one of the best coverages you can have for medicines. As long as you get your Medicare Part B or you get your additional Medicare Part D prescription plan, they know there's resources out there for you. Like the Medicare Part D, there's resources to get almost all of your medication paid for, but you have to sign up for the right insurance and don't exclude some of those things because of cost. Even though you may be paying you will be paying a premium for some of those like the Part D, the out-of-pocket cost for not having that Part D can be significantly higher. So in addition to that, they want you to exhaust all nonprofit or other resources available to you before you come back to the pharmaceutical company, because they know you have Medicare, and Medicare covers so very much.
Definitely, I would agree with that. Another question is about Medicare Advantage members. Let's answer this one first. Is it considered commercial or government insurance?
Anything Medicare is commercial insurance.
All right, and then is there any case where a program might not be available to Medicare patients, but it's available to Medicare Advantage members?
No, generally it's the same. Now, Medicare, if you have Medicare Advantage, and depending on if your Medicare Advantage covers your prescription, you have to get a separate plan. Generally, you're fine. It's when it says as long as it's Medicare. Medicare Advantage are actually programs that are structured based on the federal regulations with just your Medicare program. So it's all considered Medicare. Again, I would contact your insurance company to determine if there's anything different. You can go online. You can ask for what your if you're traveling, you're going to do different places, to the hospital, or if you're just medications, because some people are in treatment in the hospital for their medications. So I would suggest you call and find out, but generally these things all work hand in hand as long as you have the right Medicare plan. And that means Part D or your Medicare Advantage includes everything.
Yeah, one patient is saying there's a donut hole and a 5% copay, so their drug that they're receiving is quite expensive monthly.
Yeah, somewhere down the line, we think in 2024, 25, that donut hole is going to disappear. But if you have Medicare, and depending which drug you're talking about, if it's one of the Bristol Myers drugs, if you can prove you're paying more than 3% of your out-of-pocket, they can still help cover you for your drugs. I would suggest you reach out to them.
Yeah, this is one of the cases where, yeah, I would always reach out, try to get, like we were saying, nonprofit help where you can. And the frustrating part is that it puts a lot of work on the patient or their care partner. It takes a lot of proactiveness, and I wish that it was more, I don't know, hand in hand with here's your prescription and here's how we can help you. And sometimes it is, but sometimes it's not. And so I'm not going to be ignorant and saying like, oh, it's easy, go ahead and do this. No, it's not easy. But I don't want patients to give up thinking that there isn't something out there, and this is maybe where you can get friends and family, church communities involved in when they say, hey, do you need help? Yeah, actually, I do need help. Do you mind researching this with me? Do you mind making a phone call for me? So that you're not feeling completely overwhelmed by trying to do this alone.
Right, and the partnership prescription program, if you're looking just for prescriptions, they can help do a lot of that legwork for you. There are other programs as well that can help do a lot of that legwork for you, so that because they're there to support you. They will help you find, if you can't find the resource through them.
This partnership for prescription assistance. Okay.
Yes, if you can't find, and some of the pharmaceutical companies as well offers, like Compass Care, Janssen. If you can't find that prescription that they offer through that pharmaceutical company, they can help you do all this stuff. Applications generally take no more than 15-20 minutes, as long as you have your paperwork together. Now the turnaround, because they're going to send something verifying your that you are in treatment on that medication at the time to your doctor. You can notify your doctor ahead of time, say that's coming, or if you're going to the doctor every week, make sure you can possibly be there and say, can you go in and fill this out for me, because I need this quick turnaround on my medications. A lot of times that might be the slowdown, but if you call them up versus getting online, you're not sure if you're clicking the right thing, you're looking at the right thing, call them up. It generally takes 15 to 20 minutes to get this done over the phone. It's a lot easier that way.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you for that. We still have time for lots of questions if anybody has them. Like I said, Diana, I think you did an excellent job of being concise with your information and answering questions proactively. A lot of people have commented to say she answered all of my questions and not have any, so that's good news. Another thing that I'll just add, if there aren't any more questions, is the Myeloma Coach program. So we offer a free one-on-one connection with myeloma coaches who have financial backgrounds. Diana is one of them. There are several others. And we invite you, if you have further questions about these programs, or if you even have questions about that donut hole and your Medicare plan, there are different coaches that can help you for free. And then they will know when to direct you to a financial consultant if they're not able to give you further advice. So just so you know that is out there for you, and I'll put in that in the chat for everybody. That's going to be www.healthtree.org/myeloma/coach.
And I would also encourage everyone on the call, no matter how good you think your insurance is, private or Medicare, get online and start looking at what's out there. Everything's not out there, but start looking at start talking to your doctor about, do you anticipate this is the same treatment going forward? We've been talking about stem cell. Are we going to get that done this year, or are we going to do it next year? Mm-hmm. So anticipate as much as possible what your treatment plan is going to be, so you can already start planning for this, and you can start planning for more money opening up in some of these nonprofits like Leukemia and Lymphoma Society, open, close, so that you could be some of the first people in there. I really encourage you to stay on top of your insurance. Your treatment plan, your outcomes going to be based on how accessible you can get to your treatment, and that means pay for it.
Yeah. Betty's wondering, what are some of these nonprofits that help pay for drug costs?
Because that would be Leukemia and Lymphoma Society that I just mentioned, HealthWell, PAF, Patient Advocacy Foundation, Cancer Cares. If you get on our website, again, if you get on that link on our financial resources, those links are there. You can reach out to your insurance program, your local insurance program through your state, and find out if there's any local things on there. Just type in, if you have a computer, type in patient assistance programs in, let's say, Kentucky or California. Every state may offer additional programs, not just for medicines, but for travel, even if it's local travel, or lodging. If you're going to have stem cell transplant and you need to be close, there are a lot of programs out there, and you just need to ask, find them and ask.
Yeah, let me pull up our website quickly, so I can show everyone. So this is our website. If you go to HealthTree.org, I'll just walk you through all of it. So if you go to HealthTree.org and then click multiple myeloma, then you're able to come to our HealthTree for Multiple Myeloma Foundation website. If you go over here to help and resources, and then come here to financial resources, which is near the middle, we are going to be working on redesigning this page for the 2023 year. But for now, you can see these pharmaceutical company patient assistance programs that we talked about today. Other patient assistance programs that may be available to you, including those nonprofits which have copay assistance programs, basic living expenses, childcare expenses, equipment and supplies expenses, government assistance, home healthcare assistance, housing during treatment, insurance premium expenses, legal issues, medical care expenses, post-treatment financial needs, prescription expenses, travel assistance, and other helpful resources. So you can see that Diana's done an incredible job at preparing a bunch of different places where you can look and get help. And there's many testimonials from people within our community that have been able to receive thousands upon thousands of dollars of help because of these programs. I mean, we're not just saying it, we mean it. We've seen it change people's lives because they're able to afford medications that they didn't think were available to them. So I've put that in the answers to the questions, and hopefully that provides a little bit of resources to you. I'll also put it in the chat for people that are interested. Couple comments on that. Cindy said, Diana, you brought up an excellent point. I had to change insurance to get the stem cell procedure. MD Anderson wouldn't take me with the one she had, so she had to get very expensive other insurances. Planning was very important. So that's interesting to see that. You know, that sometimes does increase expenses, but it also allows the ability to get life-saving treatment. So
right. And I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I want to add on that. When you're doing stem cell therapy, there's different medications you have to get to prepare for that as well. And so if you anticipate that coming up and you're on Medicare, I would really encourage you, really strongly encourage you to look at that plan. And especially what state you're in and what hospital treatment facility you're going to. Because some people, you might get a pushback that facility may not take a Medicare plan for stem cell transplant if you're, depending on what your staging is. And that gives you time to get letters from your doctors to appeal that process. Letters from your doctors to appeal that process so you can go in and get on treatment. And because just because Medicare says, oh, we're not going to pay for it, you can appeal those processes, including medications involved in that treatment.
Yeah. A question from Ron: if you had the choice between a patient assistance program and a grant from charity, any reason to choose one over the other?
Patient assistance through the medications for the pharmaceutical company versus the other.
Yeah, do you like the financial assistance coming from one or the other?
Okay, it depends. Like if you're using it for medication only, you can use either one. I would go through the pharmaceutical company for medication. I would leave the other nonprofit or the other organization, the private organizations like your Leukemia and Lymphoma Society. I would leave that to pay for your insurance, reimbursing your insurance premiums. That puts more money, keeps more money in your pocket. You can have both. A lot of people don't realize you can have more than one patient assistance program. You can have more than one charitable organization. The one thing people need to be aware of, though, is your the money you get for your copays or your deductibles. That does not they're paying for. That does not apply to your deductible out of your deductible that you need to pay. You still need to meet up to your deductible. Okay. There's a lot of legislation. People are beginning to look at that. It's an argument that's going forward, and I've got a feeling it's going to go on even longer since they've already done some things with Medicare. But it's something really to look into.
And then Fern is wondering, how do you find out what Medicare Part D program is best for this diagnosis, and what medications a patient might need? So this is a loaded question. That's what I was going to say. It's a good question. We've actually had a session on this specifically. It's such a big question, and maybe that's something that we bring up again. Diana, we can speak to Medicare again just to get people prepared.
There are local, if you go to your local insurance department, generally there's a state program, state insurance, health insurance, something, CHIP, I want to say CHIP. But you can go through them and they can give you a link to say what Medicare programs are going to be, or Medicare Advantage programs are going to be in your state, because they can differ in their coverage from state to state. A lot of those things have not come out yet for the upcoming Medicare Advantage and re-enrollment program. A lot of times they wait till the very last minute because they're trying to get negotiating prices and negotiating all sorts of things. So there are resources on our website as well, Aon, that will help you look at what some of those resources are based on the current insurance you may have. But keep in mind, even though you may have this insurance may be covering everything now, does not mean it's going to cover the same thing next year. There are tiers, things may fall out, change tiers in a formulary. So there's a lot of things you need to look at.
Yeah, that's something that I was gonna say as well. This is the most frustrating part that I think myeloma patients experience. Like, it's absolutely wonderful that we're getting so many treatment options. At the same time, it's so frustrating because trying to predict what's upcoming for you, you know, when it comes to stuff like this. So I'm including the is it aon.com? No.
Yes, AON.
No, I don't think so.
And there's an e-patient assist.
Maybe that's the one that I'm.
Or Aon Medicare.
Something. I'll look for it. I'll make sure that we get it out to you from previous resources that we've sent out, but for some reason I'm not finding it right now. While I look for that, Dawn's question is there any tax consequences to receiving money from patient assistance programs or charities? Absolutely
none. That's a great benefit. That website is enroll eHealthMedicare.com. is a great place to go. You can do comparisons along the Medicare Advantage plans.
Okay, I'm finding it. I think I'm finding it here. So it's
enroll
retiree.
Oh, Aon retiree.
Let me find
.com. And they have a Medicare guide as well.
Yeah. Here's the guide. I just want to make sure that everybody has access to this. I know it's so important, and if you need it, you need it. So there's the guide, and then we'll make sure to include stuff about that in our follow-up email that we send out. So
there's an enrollment checklist as well that you can get for Medicare. It's really, really important. And that's through retiree.aon as well.
Okay, it looks like they changed to a light, so they might have changed.
A light retiree health solutions.
Yeah.
They still had the same.
Yeah, it's still within the same like auto directed URL.
Retiree.alight.
And then lots of other people are saying, yes, let's talk about Medicare Part D. So hopefully you guys can see that. I put that in the chat for those of you who are looking for it in the questions. I apologize. I did put that in the chat for you guys. This has been an excellent discussion. I love when people come up with great questions, and when through the question and answer session, we're able to see that what we're presenting matters. I am grateful for your feedback, Diana, and your presentation. So with that being said, I'm going to start some final slides. If we do get questions while I'm presenting these, we will be happy to answer them. But just wanted to remind you as you leave the session today, we'd appreciate you taking that 2 to 3 minute survey. It will prompt you on Zoom itself to take the survey after the event. And then you can meet us next month. We're going to meet the first Tuesday of the month, October 4th. And we're going to be talking about finding a treasure chest of assets that you already own. So we're going to be talking about how to find more income from assets that you have And you may be sitting on a treasure chest if you only knew how assets worked. So I'm looking forward to that one. Other events that you might be interested in tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern is an MRD chapter. We're hearing from Dr. Luciano Costa. He is an expert myeloma specialist, especially when it comes to minimal residual disease and MRD results. He's going to be talking about results of one of his clinical trials and also just answering your questions based on MRD and what to do with those results. I know it's a hot topic in myeloma right now, and you may not be there in your myeloma journey yet, and that's fine. But if for those who are interested, you're welcome to come to our event tonight. And then the 7th at 1 p.m. Eastern is our selinexor chapter. We're going to be hearing from Dr. Craig Cole about the selinexor, carfilzomib, and dexamethasone clinical trial. And then the 7th at 7 p.m. Eastern is our Northeast Myeloma Community Chapter. So if you live anywhere ranging from Maine to Pennsylvania, you are welcome to join our Northeast Myeloma Community Chapter. We're going to be discussing nutrition advice for Northeast myeloma patients with the registered dietitian from MSK. The link to sign up for any of those events and even more events I haven't mentioned is found at the bottom of the slide and will be included in our follow-up email. Doesn't look like there were any more questions. So just a big thank you for all of you for helping us build this myeloma community. And Diana, another thank you to you for your preparation. I appreciate you all and hope that you have a great rest of your day. Thank you, everyone. Take care.